when I was in, corporate life, I always knew I wanted to be in the tea space, like since I was 8 or 9. I remember I joined Girl Scouts, and we did this kind of off-site high tea experience, and I really felt it was such a community experience that I just fell in love with it. And I remember saying to my mom or someone that day, being like, I want to own a tea shop one day. That was kind of what I had in mind when I thought about being in the tea industry. But as I grew older, and I felt that might be something that, like, I love serving tea, but I don't know for my personality if that would be something I would want to do day in and day out. So I was always kind of looking for an idea in the tea space, like even when I was working this corporate job. And so once I figured out, the process to make tea is very complicated and it requires so many steps, that kind of triggered the idea, well, why can't it be simple? Why can't making tea be simplified in some way? And then I thought through, well, if it's simplified, that means it has to either be chemically altered or, something, you have to make some kind of compromise. And then the idea came, well, why can't you do that with loose leaf tea? What's stopping it? And at that point, I didn't have a chemistry background. I had no background in food manufacturing. So this was just an inspiration, and I sat on it for a little bit. And then I just actually started buying different tea blends and getting samples from different suppliers, and started blending tea in my kitchen just so I could learn the properties of tea a bit more. Like, if you ground it very fine, what happens? If you steep, the whole leaf tea, what happens? What's the difference between a white tea, a black tea, a green tea? And so through that process of just learning more, I learned more about the tea leaf itself. And I didn't instantly start with the idea, hey, I want this to be a tea drop. It was just more like, how do I simplify the tea experience? And then as I experimented more, I did this for about 1.5 years, 2 years, after work and on my weekends. Then I figured out, okay, well, I think there are enough properties in the tea leaf that it can hold together in some, with a natural binder or some, natural process. So that sparked the idea of an all-encompassing tea experience that you didn't need any other fanfare or any other tools to prepare. And then the idea of the shapes just came because, it's like, well, if I make a product, I want it to be fun and approachable. I think for so long, tea has been this almost stuffy, kind of associated with a lot of snobbery and highbrow. You think about the British, you think about the steam tea time, high tea. And I think for me, I'm like, what I loved about tea is that it was something anyone could connect to. It's such a frankly an inexpensive way to really connect soul to soul with someone. So I thought, I feel like the shapes will give it this fun factor that you'll feel really, connected to, and it'll be approachable. So that sparked the idea behind the shape of the drop. And then I finally worked on the formulation. I got it. I worked with a patent attorney to see, is there something here I could patent? And it turned out there was. So then I went down that rabbit hole, but I didn't have any experience. Like, my mom will tell you, I'm like, do not belong in the kitchen. This is like the last place you would find me. But I think if you're really passionate enough about something, you kind of just navigate and figure it out.